Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Agents After Hours, a podcast for agents by agents, where we dedicate our time to helping agents understand the landscape of real estate and how to be more successful. And today we're going to focus strictly on brand new agents. So again, this is Agent After Hours. I am Brian Fox. I'm hosted by, as well with Tom Kadar and Luis Anaya. And today we're going to dig into that, starting with Tom. And Tom has a particular background of commercial real estate as well as owning a few businesses. So I thought we'd start with Tom and go to each of us, ask some questions about new agents. The first thing I was going to ask each of us is, what do we see as being the biggest problem new agents bring to the business right now?
That's a very broad question, Brian.
I know. I want a very broad answer.
Okay. All right. Then I'll just talk for an hour. Obviously, we work with agents every day. We see a lot of new agents kind of come into the business, and we see what's working for them and what's not working for them. Sometimes we just kind of want to take a stick and hit them over the head and say, don't do that. But sometimes they have to kind of learn.
Or stop doing that over and over again after I told you to stop doing it the first time.
Right. That happens. It happens more often than we think, and that's where the numbers come from, right? That's where 80% of the agents, real estate agents, fail in the first year, and 90% I think fail by year two. So we're, obviously we're doing the best we can with providing tools and resources, and obviously ourselves to help those agents, try and get to the next step. But I think there's a very kind of broad system and a few tools that they can kind of use to maybe accelerate that process or put them in that 10%.
Well, so one of the things that I get asked this stuff all the time. Like the questions here's the questions I get asked that have no bearing on anything remotely relevant ever. 1, what CRM do you use?
Right.
2, should I farm twice a month or once a month? 3,
does my business card look okay?
Should I have my photo on my business card? 4, are open houses really a good idea? I get so many of these questions like that. It's tough because, and I say this with love because it's really difficult because we were all brand new agents at one point, and the answers are actually very simple. And if you ask anybody who is not in real estate, they probably give a very logical, common sense answer. But unfortunately, when you get your license, suddenly you become very foggy in what sounds relevant and interesting. So, I get a lot of that. I mean, and separate from that, the numbers of, this isn't data related, but the number of transactions are going down in this area, but also the number of new listings also kind of going down. We're starting to see a bit of reversal, but the problem is most new agents won't do the only 3 things that they should be doing to get numbers in, and they don't understand. Well, I don't understand why would I just talk to a bunch of people? I don't. What do you mean? Like I just increase talking to people and increases my odds of business? I don't get it. And it's like,
what are those 3 things? Just so we can be very clear with the audience.
All right, I'm sorry. I was ranting a minute, but new agents have this fundamental issue of not understanding that what you're trying to do for the first year of real estate. Yes, you can buy leads. Yes, you can have leads, but the objective is to build a moat around the people you know. And you want to bring a lot of those people into the fold of understanding in the world of relationships. In my world, I am the one they know who has real estate capability. And most agents don't know is that in real estate, look, I've done this 21 years now. I would say between us, we've done it for 6-7 decades. But the point is that I can get beaten tomorrow by Red's cousin. Red's cousin can beat me in a presentation, not because he presented.
To be clear, Red's cousin is a brand new agent, or
I don't care if Red's cousin
just got his license,
a 4-legged stool. Red's cousin will beat me because it's Red's cousin, and because people will do business with people they know, like, and trust before expertise in this specific industry. Plastic surgery, very different. If I was a plastic surgeon, I'd probably go get my facelift done by someone who is very good at that because they're cutting my face open. But this is a lot of money tied to this, and still, it'll be because they know you. Oh, it's my cousin, it's my nephew, I can't do it, it's my best friend to friend. But that's the point, is that when you're new, we're trying to help people build a moat around those folks.
That's one of the first things I tell. If somebody, and I get this call, I'm sure we all get this call once a week of, hey, I'm thinking about getting into real estate.
Dude,
you spit out your coffee.
Dude.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do
You gotta
that.
time that better.
So we all get at least once a week, if not twice a week, we get this call because obviously we've been in the business for a long time, and people are like, "Oh, you look like you're making some money, you're successful. Whatever I'm doing over here is working. So let me jump over here to real
My
estate."
best friend's like wife, she did it. She's doing great.
Yeah. So
I have a personality for it.
So instead of telling these people to go F off, basically, and like, this isn't as easy as it looks.
No.
There's a lot of time. There's a lot of commitment. It's a full-time job. I laugh even harder when people say, "Can I do this part-time on the weekends, like 4 hours a day or something like that?" But one of the first things I do tell them is to create that moat that you're kind of describing there. Is you have friends, family, people that look at you as a resource right now. Look, wherever that is, and is that my, do I have a large family, or maybe I'm part of a club or some sort of group, like a religious group or a cultural group, or maybe they're from Estonia and there's like a very select group. I mean, we have an agent who's I think Eastern European.
She's Estonia?
Something like that, Latvian. Okay. But the fact is that they have this group that they're a part of, and they might be the only real estate agent in that group.
True.
So
that quickly changes. That quickly changes.
Right, but create that moat and be intentional in the marketing to that moat. Whether that's whatever that is, probably not mail. You don't have to do mailers. I mean, it's a phone call. It's a phone call a day, a phone call a week to somebody in that group, and you've created this ecosystem in which you're the real estate agent and you're the go-to person for any type of real estate transaction.
I mean, to hyper focus on that first part, like you said, a lot of new agents, they get into the industry with the false expectation of freedom of time, luxury.
Freedom of time.
They're just gonna post on their Instagram, "I'm a realtor," and just checks are gonna start flowing in through one post.
Yep.
And a lot of them get bogged down and burnt out spending money on things that are not going to be successful for them. And like we're talking about it severely, is your hyper focus should be letting everyone in your world that is like arm's length to you know that you're a real estate professional now. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people have that hard first step to take, like just that simple introduction, like, "Oh, I don't want to sound salesy," or "I don't want to sound like I want to make money off of you," or "I don't want to." It's like they have a wrong mindset about it, primarily.
So actually, you said something really funny. I knew this, but it just dawned on me again. I don't know many real estate people who don't get in the business before having seen someone that they know on Instagram posting stuff about the business. And I think that a lot of real estate people who are kind of coming up think that the business is their posting, not actually
doing the work,
serving customers over there. Well, it's actually pretty funny. I knew that, but I was like, what you said, I'm like, that's a good point. Like I know more agents who take their Instagram and social media seriously than do figuring out how to have actual conversations with other people.
It's a lot more easier. It's a lot more fun. It's a lot more prestigious, I guess, to take a picture of this $3 million listing that I'm not part of.
In no way affiliated with.
It's easier to fake it,
but it looks good, right?
Yeah,
it's easier to fake it. But in all retrospect to that, it's just like you said, serving the customer, right? So with that, like a lot of agents miss that boat. Like when they get into the business, they think it's HGTV. You're just gonna put up a sign, shake a hand, get a check, like all that tedious work in between and everything else. It's funny you say that about the phone calls, because I get that all the time. And the conversation always goes a little bit different, because I always tell them, I was like, "Hey guys, you got to understand, this is my year 19. Like you got to understand, it's not going to be, you're going to step in and you're going to have the productivity I have. You're going to step in. It could happen. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't, but
it won't.
It's highly likely that it won't.
It depends on the kind of person you are. Like there's some people who are very, this is hilarious, but energetic, very socially relative people. Like they just have the ability to vibe with people, and that's what people want. They just want to vibe with you.
But how many people do we know that get into the industry? They don't plan financially ahead. They think they're going to get a paycheck in 1 week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks into this, not knowing that you might not even see a paycheck for 6 months.
Yeah.
Not knowing that you might not see a paycheck for almost a year,
Let's
probably sometimes, right?
We're talking about commercial real estate.
Yeah, in commercial real estate.
Year or two
I mean,
years.
so going into the hyper focus about like new agents, the biggest thing that I think they miss out on in the beginning, which we hyper focus on here, is just establishing your business, the moat, getting everybody to let them know, hey, I'm a real estate professional. What questions do you have? How can I serve you?
Be a
How can I
resource to them.
be a resource?
Exactly.
So let's pretend that, again, I just told y'all everything you saw on TV is not accurate to a business at all. It's just really not. But let's rewire this then. So for me, this would be my first and best advice. This is what I would start with. You want to build a moat around people. So the question is, okay, well, what does that mean? How I do it? So the very first thing you got to do is this is not a class, but this is where you start. Do not start designing your social media pages just yet. And I tell you, and it's not that you don't do it in the first 3 or 4 or 5 things, but you don't do it first. The first thing you do is write down the names and numbers of everybody you know and start making sure they call it a database, but like, is everything in there right and accurate? Do I know who these people are? And you start with that, and then you can move on to other activities like your social media. But believe it or not, there are a lot of people who you already know who are actually in the need of probably real estate services in the next 12 months that you're not actually ever going to talk to because you never did the first part, which is clean up this list of people that you already have contact and, by the way, relationship with. That'd be my number one thing. Number 2 thing would be, what do you think number 2 is?
I mean, I would if you want to put a solid number
Just in general.
on how many contacts you should make per day. I'm curious what you guys would say. What would you say?
Depends on where you're at in your business.
As a brand new agent,
Brand new agent.
All damn day.
120 to, 150, I would say.
150.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
The biggest thing about it is,
contacts that you mean reach outs.
well, yeah, reach outs.
So dial.
Yeah. Well, so contact, I would define as somebody you're actually talking. You talk to, you get them on the phone, you talk to them, and you're talking about real estate.
Well, his number 1 is 100% accurate. Focus in on your database, right?
Yep.
Who do you know? Who knows you? Who have you had conversations with? Who can I reach out to and just plug all their information in and send out a mass message to everybody? Hey guys, I'm a real estate licensed agent now. I work with this office. I would think my number 2 is, who are you going to partner up with? Like
Okay.
what brokerage?
Sure.
Because the reality of it is as a brand new agent, how do you leverage?
That probably should be my number
You
one.
know, which one?
That probably should be my number 1 is figure out where you're going to partner.
Well, yeah, it could be your number 1 or number 2, one of those 2 places, because it's going to be very important that there's a lot of brokerages out there that once you get your license, they want you as a number on the wall, and then it's like, here you go, guys.
Well,
Go out
that's
to the
how
world.
we were structured before we took it. Like,
Yeah.
that just sucked.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just we.
Well, I'm sorry. That wasn't how we
agents.
were structured. That's how the company
Yeah.
was structured before we
Yeah.
bought
That's
it.
a lot of
Yeah.
real estate brokers.
A lot of
Yeah,
real estate
yeah.
brokerages, like, I remember my first year in real estate, it was just, I thought getting my license, getting a business card, and putting it on my social media page that I was an entrepreneur.
So all you know, this comes from a large area of expertise of like, we did exactly the same thing.
I thought just by doing those 3 things, I was going to become uber successful. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't know about all the inner workings about structuring a business, your database, follow up, touches,
I didn't
outreach. Like none of that stuff was
That was
actually relevant. So to focus in on the top 2 criterias that we pretty much pour into our agents here at our brokerage is, who do you surround yourself with? What type of resources are they going to be? How available are they? Are they still in the trenches right now? Are they giving you hypotheticals? Do they actually function in this market? Because their past experience, how many brokerages do we not know that have a broker that was doing business 20 years ago, and then they just resourced over to just hiring people and trying to make
Or
money
an
off of
office
them?
manager
No, I'm an
that's
owner.
never sold
I'm an
real
Yeah,
owner now,
it's
estate.
like I'm an owner, so
Yeah.
I don't care what's going on in the market. You got a cold call, door knock, and mailers,
Yeah.
and that's it. You're going to be uber successful.
Yeah.
So to me, it would be who are you going to partner up with, right? Because no matter what industry you go into, in order to become successful, you got to learn from the people that are doing it at a very high level
And still doing it.
and still doing it.
Well, so okay, so good point. So we have people here that every morning they're religious about their phone calls. And I'm not saying that's bad; that's good, but it is not the low hanging fruit right now.
Oh,
The low hanging fruit is open houses. Like, and by the way, that doesn't mean it was ever bad before, but if you're an agent and trying to figure out where to get business quickly and easily, it's going to be open houses, and it's going to be open houses until we have enough inventory that it changes that. But we don't have enough inventory. So what happens is every buyer has to see just about everything because it's not on the market long enough for them to who have been able to really consider it. So they're every weekend they're going to see it. But that's number one. Number two is that there's a giant disconnect between service and sales in this industry. And so most of the last, I'd say 30 years, the industry has been heavily pushed in this like sales place. Like it's sales. It ain't. It hasn't been in a long time, but it's that incapability of being able to switch the mindset that's keeping people stuck. It's service. Like I don't sell anybody anything ever. I figure out what they're asking for. I go over there and see how easily it is to find it, and I bring it back, and they say, "That's it. That's the right one. Yes, thank you. That is the box I want."
Over the top service,
right?
Not just, I mean,
wait, so it's not 3 hard closes at the same time?
You don't
sign the contract now.
You don't do the puppy dog close. You take the house home, and come back and get it later. I can't tell you how many of those seminars I've been to. Sales has nothing to do with real estate anymore. No. None. The only place it would come into sequence is maybe with an investor here or there, but I can't even imagine that because they want the same thing.
Yeah, they want the service.
Yeah,
they 100%
want
want. They want the numbers, but at the same time, they want the service, right?
Yeah, I mean, they have a different mindset on what their objective is, but like the reason open houses are so good is because whenever you're cold calling, this is the thing people never understand about cold calling. The whole point of a cold call, which is why I've heard the same script the last 3 years on cold calling, is, hey, I've got a buyer for your house. Hey, I've got a buyer for your house. You were on the market. I have no idea why you didn't sell. I don't know why I didn't see it, but I'd love to come over right now and take a look for my buyer, who is very interested, by the way. And I have heard that same script for 3 years. And the only reason people use it is because their objective is to get in the door so that they can try and close somebody on the spot. They don't have a buyer, I would say, within a 99% certainty. And by the way, at some
people
price,
lie in real estate.
No.
Right.
By the way, at some price, anyone has a buyer, right?
Yep.
$1 million house for $300,000. Oh, I got a buyer. I didn't agree to your price. Yeah, 100%. But the point is that when you're open house, you have face to face, and they came in. So the expectation is actually shifted. When I go into somebody else's house, I have to project energy to them to get them to interact with me. When they come in, I'm the host. It is so much easier to communicate with people and conversate with them about the things that are of interest to them because I am the one in control of the place that they're in. So open houses are like, they're not even low-hanging fruit. It's fruit on the ground you pick up. Like it's not, like you should be doing it every weekend, once to twice every weekend, mandatory, until the numbers are where you're going to go.
Well, a couple of reasons for that I think of heavily right now is, at least in the open houses that I've hosted recently, is the buyers that are on the market, they're savvy buyers.
And they're serious.
They're serious buyers. They already have the knowledge of where the interest rate's at right now, what their payments are going to be, what their affordability is. You're not forcing anybody to buy, right? You're not beating them to death and trying to throw them every angle of, oh, this is the best thing that you can do in your life. This is your retirement fund, yada, yada, yada. So to focus in on that part, I would think my number 3 for brand new agents is conversations. Like, how are you going to overcome those conversations without sounding like a salesperson?
Yeah.
Like, you're not, aside from partnering up with the right brokerage, you got to also partner up with the people that are actually producing numbers right now and having those right conversations and not going to be tossed out to, like, no offense to Tom Ferry, but like the Tom Ferrys out in the world or the Mike Ferrys where it's like a scripted, everything's like, hey, when they say this, you got to say this. But a lot of these people have that mindset where they're brand new agents and they don't say this, they say this, and they lose their track on their script and they're like, oh shit, how do I overcome this?
Yeah.
They sound robotic, right?
To go back what you said, so 20 conversations, I was going to agree with you on that. I think 20 conversations a day is minimum.
Huge.
As a new agent.
Yeah.
So
To be clear, it's conversations about real estate.
Yes.
Well, I mean, just want to be clear. I talked to you. Love bubblegum. I talked to this guy for like an hour. This guy was just love bubblegum.
That's a good point because I do have agents even on. So I have had on my team that have a conversation with an older person and it just kind of goes for an hour and a half, and I'm like, why did you?
All about Betty and her cousins and her 3 kids. By the way, did you know her cousin died in Afghanistan? Yeah.
And they end up selling the house with somebody else.
Oh yeah, no, my cousin's a realtor.
hour and a half into the conversation.
Oh no, honey, I couldn't even. My cousin's a realtor. I can't do anything.
But great talking to you.
God, thank you so much. No one ever talks to me anymore.
20 contacts, and then so what are your open houses? Obviously, favorite. Obviously,
Yes.
the phone is
Well,
is a
temper is
favorite.
my favorite right now because the thing is that it's
The market
an
we're in.
it's an
Utilized under.
underutilized but underserviced part of the area where it's like remember before COVID we had like remember like you turn the street and it's like the major corner is like 45 signs.
Yeah.
When's the last time you saw that?
It's been a while.
I mean, it doesn't even exist. There's 1, 2, 3, which means
Yeah.
people have to go to only those, as opposed to what would happen is before people go to open houses and they kind of got this look on their face like, Jesus, don't bother me. I'm just trying to figure this thing out.
Right.
Where now it's just very, very different. The people who are out are they're serious enough. I mean, most people got scared off by some interest rate stuff or I can't go anywhere thing, and it's a very different economy. And yeah, for me, their open houses are just they're bar none the number one way to secure new business. And by the way, I say that based on experience. I have not sent a single open agent out into the field of getting open houses who has not told me, "Oh my God, you're right. I have 3 people I'm talking to this week," because they're not serviced, and that is why you're meeting them in person, so you can actually help them find what they're trying to find. But anyways, that's my number one. Conversations, yeah. But what would mine? I have this gray area for what I think is next. And I think the other thing is I really do, for new agents specifically, I feel, I could be hallucinating, but I feel as though they do 5 things and think, there, I figured it out. I don't need to do any more classes. That could be me.
That's a dangerous one because I have strong feelings about that on agents that basically get into the business and do classes for the whole year.
Professional class takers.
Okay,
Perpetual
well,
class
explain
taker.
that. Explain that thought. By the way,
I was
I
gonna drink
made
my
no
coffee, but-
definitive statement on the idea, but the point is, I never see them again, and they
So
do
you're
3
saying
deals
that
and they
they-
disappeared.
You're saying they don't do enough education.
Well, no, they take a class, they see results, and they say, "I figured it out."
I figured it
They're
out.
gone.
And so my problem with that is that the biggest issue anybody has, and specifically agents, is this is a world where you are now CEO, accountant, bartender, waiter. You're everything all at once,
Right.
and you're so ill-equipped for that because of the experience you probably got raised in as a child, that or a young person, even in business. That it's just so many things to try and do. But they figure out the real estate part was really not the hard part, which it ain't, by the way. The real estate's not the hard part.
No.
The people part is the hard part, which is what we train on most, is how do you understand this component of it, because that's how you push more. But they think, I figured out the real estate part. That deal was no big deal. I got this. And you see them in spring in 2026.
With no additional deals sold after that one.
No,
One
not
year-
a single one.
year
I
later,
can't
yeah.
even tell you how many times I've seen that.
But-
and then you talk to them
but-
2 years later and they've done nothing but leases.
But they have luxury on their IG.
Luxury agent. Luxury agent.
Oh,
Luxury agent.
No,
So I'm sorry, what are you going to say about class? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. So, I guess to even piggyback on what you're saying about the classes, I think the biggest misconception to brand new agents is that you get a license and you know it all. Like you get a license to sell real estate. And
Meanwhile,
that's it.
nothing on the test has
Yeah.
anything to do with
At
So-
all.
selling a single
Ever,
house.
ever.
So to add on to the class part, because I have very mixed emotions about classes, because there's so many ways to learn about real estate,
Right.
and there's a lot of classes that are just hook classes where they're not really going to teach you shit.
They're teaching the thing they're
Yeah,
selling.
they're
Yeah.
teaching the thing that they're going to sell you down the
Right.
line.
Yeah.
Right.
But the biggest misunderstanding from brand new agents is this is a continuously evolution business. Like it is not set in stone. You're 100% correct. It's not the real estate part. Real estate's being produced by other avenues, right? We're selling products that are already out on the market. We're not the producer of the product. We're actually selling those products out there. Our job is to create the opportunities out there by servicing clients that have a need.
Goes back to service.
That 100% goes back to service. So as the market keeps shifting, right now the low-hanging fruit is your sphere of influence and open houses, right?
Yeah.
Because like he said, I could go door knock an area where Brian's cousin's already there. I tell that client something that they want to hear. Chances are that they're going to go back to their back in the days, they would go back to Brian's cousin.
Say, here's what that dude said. Can you do it?
Yeah. And it's funny.
I swear to you.
Diego and I went into a listing appointment. We sat with the client. The minute that they opened up the previous agent's pamphlet, it's funny to me because it was a Keller Williams agent, right? I didn't say anything about the brokerage.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything. I just talked about our knowledge.
Mhm.
But at the most part, it was funny to me because those agents were pitching everything that they've done in the past.
Right.
Everything, like every aspect of I've sold this, I've listed this,
the
I've
house in
marketed
Hawaii.
this. Your house got 2,000 views on YouTube because I put it up there. But then they
Shoot.
never asked the customer, what do they need?
Fudge, I'm great. Just ask me. I
It
am
was funny
so
to me.
great. Just ask me.
So to go back to the classes, it's highly important that we continuously keep evolving our knowledge.
Yep.
Because what you did 5 years ago in the real estate market has no bearing on what's going on right now.
I agree with that 100%. But yeah, if we're focusing on new agents, I just for
I think
me
it
that's
depends on the class we're talking about.
yes, but the new agent that I was guilty of this too. I got my license. And I'm part of the Laguna Beach board. Every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m., I go to the broker preview. I look at beautiful
that's a waste of
houses at 2 million, 3 million, 5 million, 10 million. I go see about 5 of them, and then about 1 o'clock, look at that, it was happy hour.
All right. So we're not talking about the same thing at all.
The other days, I try and take some sort of class about whatever the office was providing. But there wasn't like a direction or purpose or anything. But I felt good about myself because, hey, I'm doing real estate stuff. I'm talking about real estate stuff. I haven't talked to a single buyer or seller.
All right.
But I look at all this stuff I learned.
Okay, so we are all in agreement of what you did was
Right.
not accurate.
Right.
Because I've done it too, and I got stuck in there for a minute. It's like this is stupid.
Yeah.
I actually haven't been doing broker preview, and I'd say almost 12, 15
Yep.
years.
Same.
Yeah.
And for all y'all who like
Unless I'm
broker
on broker
preview,
preview and I
go
have a
absolutely.
house. Yeah, right.
and I still wouldn't do it. Like honestly.
Have somebody else do it for you. Yeah.
But okay, so one caveat: if you are inexperienced and you know literally nothing of real estate, so I came from a background where in life there was a lot of scarcity. So even if I went to Laguna, even being around that actually would benefit me to see like there's a world in which I could live in that I can actually do more. It was a big hurdle for me in life. But for the agent who's like, I'm doing this and I'm active in real estate, no, horrible use of time. But I think what I'm trying to say is that there are, well, like for instance, if you go to a class on developing a listing presentation, you're going to probably need a couple rounds of that to really figure out what we're doing and why we're doing it. And again, we teach a little differently. So I guess I'm speaking from our perspective, not the general world. I wouldn't take, I don't want to say like a random crappy class out loud, but if something comes up annually, it's like this thing. It's like, well, you're getting any better than the year before because you're taking an education, not applying anything. Well, then no, that's a horrible waste of time.
Well, so there's classes, which I'm all for.
Classes?
Very
Classes.
Very specific, but if you're a new agent, I think you guys are going to back me up here. Partner with somebody that's
I actually
about
read
to
a
say
lot.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was about to say that too.
I would have done
and
that
I think
one
you're
day.
fast tracking everything here. Take some classes, but if you're under 3 or 5 deals, partner with an agent that you like, that you vibe with, that has experience in that particular field or area that you're looking to target.
Yeah.
And have them walk you through the entire process.
But do you know why they don't?
Ego,
But
money.
more specific.
money.
But I'm missing out on all that. I could have that
Yeah,
too
I could
if I
have
didn't bring
100%
them
of that.
over.
Yeah.
It is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Well, it's the lack of understanding that the fastest way to success is
copying somebody else.
copying someone who's going to do it.
Or more specifically, have them show you how to do it.
Right. I guess a lot of us, each one of us here learned that at a very advanced time in our careers, right? I wish I would have done it much sooner. I would have shortcutted this whole shit a lot quicker.
To be fair, on the other side, though, I have partnered with, in my first 5 years, I partnered with agents that I jumped on their team, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll take care of your marketing. We're going to do this. We're going to do that."
Yeah.
And then 3 deals later, I'm missing half of my check, and I don't have any phone calls.
Yeah. And you know what? Okay, I'm going to say this. I think they're probably.
But I'll add. Sorry, I'll cut you off again. In my first 3 years of investing, I spent at least $50,000 on coaching, on very direct coaching, and those tools that I learned in those coaching classes have made me hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it's all in being very direct.
There's a difference between coaching and partnering up with an agent, right? Because partnering up with an agent is you're gonna get actual live training.
Right.
I would pay for coaching once you got a couple deals under you. There's certain things, and you have finances to back you up, because coaching is extremely expensive and it's very lucrative because
Right.
it expedites your processes, it expedites your understanding of the business. It gives you that curve where like everybody talks about that hockey stick, right? You're not going to get there. Everybody wants to get there by themselves. I don't know if everybody wants to put that star on their plaque where it says, "I built this by myself. No one helped me." Right?
It's not that. It's I want to keep all the money.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
but 100% of nothing is still nothing.
I'll tell you one. So this is one thing that will benefit everybody. But I have a really good friend. Actually, he's my brother-in-law, but it was a friend before when he said it, so I'll say that. He actually he was a semi-pro golfer for a long time, and we go out and golf, and his son golfs, and we talk about coaching, and we just get in these conversations about stuff. And he said, "I'll never coach anybody who's never swung a club," and I thought instantly like, well, why not? Wouldn't you want to get him before the problems start?
Mm-hmm.
And so his response is basically, well, no, he's got nothing to correct. Like if someone's swinging a club with nothing to correct, you can't. They have no memory for what they're doing now to adjust anything. Mm-hmm. They're starting with nothing. And so the reason I bring that up is that if you're, what I was going to say earlier, so incredibly rudely cut down, was that if you're going to partner with people, there's way more stories of people getting burned than not. So I would get that, and I would say 1 in 5 agents come here with a story. That. So probably 1 in 5 come with a story similar, and we're probably odd in that we actually do what we say. But that's not the point. The point is that if you're going to start trying to work with somebody, which I can say I 100% would, but I didn't actually understand the kind of way you make that decision and how you do it. And so this would be my advice if I was doing that now, is that I would look at people who are very successful, and I would not bring them a deal. I'd go and talk to them and ask their advice. What do you think? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I'd see how warm and receptive they are to simply coaching you with their expertise. That is the person I might also consider bringing a deal to, because he's already told me what he would do if I pay him nothing. Here's all the advice I got. Here's this. Like, depending on the kind of help you get. What's up?
Sorry. I mean, I get a lot of agents who kind of in commercial they peek in my door and they're like, hey, what do you think on this and this and this, and then they take it and they write it down and they try and do it themselves, or
right. But I said that's the person you should partner with.
I'm happy to help anybody.
No, you misinterpreted me. What I'm saying is you're the guy, somebody like you, who says, here's what you do and here's how you do it and here's how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
A person who's willing to give you that information for free without saying, well, what's in it for me, is probably the person who's not going to screw you when the time comes and the check comes, right? Or are you saying, oh, I'm going to screw you?
No, I'm... It's difficult. It's a fine line that's difficult to kind of walk. And any agent in the office here, I'm happy to help. I'm always happy to be a resource for them. And
I feel like you might not know what might not be picking up what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you're putting deposits into goodwill of here
future
to help.
Business.
Here to help. I'm here to help. So, but if you're going to get screwed on a deal, it's because you went to a big team. They think, oh yeah, we got all the business.
Yeah.
Not specifically here trying to help you.
Right.
You disagree with that?
No.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm saying.
We're on the same page.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was missing you. So, but yeah, that would be my point. Is that so for me before, I didn't know where to interview and what teams to do. I mean, I didn't even think about it. I was like, I'm not giving my check to anybody else. I made all those mistakes, but I would have shortcutted so much of my business if I would just work with a big team that I would interview and be like, I'll just do all this. Even if it was grunt for a year, I'd get so much data.
I mean, I won't name any names, but I've been on big teams in my first 3 or 5 years, and those big time agents that you see them on all the big listings, they don't want to give you the time of day. I mean, their whole purpose is get on my team. If you get a deal,
make me money.
You can use my name and give me 50%. That's it. If I go to the listing appointment, throw my name out on the table, and if you get the listing, then
that's what I was saying. The person who wants to genuinely help you is a person that can help you learn, and the whole objective of partnering is to learn.
Yeah,
how to go farther.
You can
and
mimic.
It's incentivized. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm all for that.
Yeah. So let's see. That was that one. Partnering. What am I missing? I'm missing something.
Coaching, partnering, brokerage.
Actually,
We should mention that we do have a great PC program here. that
Oh, okay. So our mentorship program. Okay, so
personal coach?
we kind of designed our company in layers, and so kind of give you ideas. So we have we have a productivity coaching program. We have kind of partnership mentoring. So we kind of talked about the partnership stuff. So finding agents to do that with, we've kind of set that up. But something we did this a little bit in between, from free floating out in the nowhere and like, hey, you're on your own, to, well, I don't want to give up my capital. I want to earn business. Is we have actually a productivity coaching. So if you don't have this in your area, ask them. But basically, it's what, 10%, something like that, or percentage.
Yeah, it depends on
Yeah.
in which program, what tier you kind of land in, but the percentages aren't important. But the
Right. So
point is that
the point is that, like, let's say there's this much money, instead of like half of it going to somebody who's really dang good, it's like, well, if you want to figure out this finance, like that much, and so the percentage goes way down, but you have someone guiding the process through it, almost as a coach and a mentor.
they're not as involved. They're more of a, hey, we're a resource. I'll review
Oversight.
contracts with
Right.
you. If you want that, obviously we have that too, where you can
Partner up.
and that's more of obviously the 50-50 kind of approach, where I will go with you on the listing appointment. I will negotiate everything.
Essentially,
and
it's if you want a hired gun to solve your problems. Essentially, is what
Right.
that is, right?
But
So as
the
opposed
PC
to
yeah,
oversight.
the PC program is an oversight, a lot smaller percentage, support throughout the entire deal. I mean, that's something.
Yeah, I agree.
Wherever you kind of fit.
That kind of goes
obviously.
back to the brokerage, though. I would
Yeah.
say that 100%
Yeah.
aligns with the brokerage. I mean, we're a unique brand. We're by agents for agents that are actually active in today's market.
Yeah.
So we understand the ins and outs. We understand that brand new agents don't want to give 100% of their commission away, which I don't understand why they would. But I understand that any small chunk can make a big difference in people's financial well-being,
Right.
no matter what they're going to be giving out. So we have extra resources here in our office that can alleviate that and still give you profitability at the end of the day.
And so, not to kind of commercial plug this, but yeah, so just to understand our mentality, so it helps the customer audience, is that what we've kind of figured out when it comes to agents is that there are brand new agents. There are agents who have done, by the way, also brand new, but done at least 2 or 3 deals, which is, by the way, a very different agent after 2 or 3 deals. And then there's I've been in it for 1 or 2 years. I've done 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 deals, and then a multitude upon that. And so there's this growth pattern that happens. As we figured out is new agents require a certain amount, but they also don't realize the amount that they actually need. And so we've developed a program where it's like no productivity coaching and productivity coaching. So you can have one or other. It's based on where you're at. But the productivity coaching allows us the opportunity to filter through the things that we know are necessary and help you kind of grow a business. And so these are things that take back to the places that you're looking at or interviewing in. But what do they have that's I'm on my own, or I'm on my own with somebody holding my hand a little bit, but not the false promise. Okay. The false promise is we have phenomenal coaching here. We have the best coaching on the planet. You should come here because coach. And then they're like, yes, another sign up. And then, well, there you go. Enjoy. And they kick you in the bullpen, and that's about the end of it. And by the way, I've seen it, been in several companies. It is a very poor routine. So we kind of figured out that degree of separation. So if you're not here or you're looking for somebody else, it's fine. Just go ask them, what do you guys have that's productivity coaching, where I've got someone kind of partnering with my business that's associated with the company, where I still keep pretty much everything, but you guys walk me through and make sure I know what I'm doing so that I'm better at this, which is a big deal. And then you start people down the trend. So those pieces, and then the final piece is if you have to partner with somebody because it's just way out of your depth, you've never done something like that. I'll give a perfect example. Tom specializes in a lot of commercial. Now, we all do a bit of commercial, but Tom's kind of the guy. Point being is if you've got a large 14-unit industrial warehouse development in downtown Santa Ana, you might want to bring on somebody to help hold that deal together. That would be a situation where you are way outside of your depth and you need that partnership. But anyways, those different layers have helped us find a lot better success with agents, because the thing is that you really never know where an agent is mentally, emotionally when they're coming in. Only when you start seeing stuff, you're like, oh, okay, here's where you're at. You need a little bit of this. And it's always a little bit different. Everybody's got their own walk of life. And so we found that's a big deal to be able to offer them those services that they can use to grow.
Oh, yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
I mean, the last part that I would say is understand the business you're getting into, the contracts. A lot of brand new agents.
And by the way, that is last. That was the last thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
If you don't have any
Contracts.
deals on the table, you don't have to worry about contracts.
That's true.
Right?
But I mean, there's like 4 or 5. Okay, sorry, I'll say this. Everything is important, but there are like 7, 8, 9, 10 things that are like, these are the places where you get problems.
Oh, dude. Lawsuits.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard horror stories right now of all those people that were, when interest rates were at 2% and their buyers were going in, they're blind, waiving contingencies,
Yeah.
waiving everything, waiving this, waiving that.
Those coming home
Yeah.
to roost.
Oh man, those are coming home to roost.
Properties
Big
that
time.
had issues with them.
Oh yeah, there's properties that were. I mean,
they didn't do due diligence.
it's an array of things, and I guess the more we get into the real estate industry, I kind of say, brand new agent is someone that hasn't done a transaction in 2 years. That's my perspective of it, right? Just like first time home buyer. First time home buyer has a category where if you haven't owned a house in 3 years, you're considered a first time home buyer, even though you bought a house 10 years ago, but you've been renting for 7 of those after you sold it, and
Right.
so you're gonna be considered a brand new first time home buyer.
Same thing with real estate.
Same thing in real estate, man. 2 years is a whole world of things that have changed in real estate. Contracts, stipulations, just plan
They
the
keep changing
regulations.
the rule in the last 12 months. They moved the contract around
Correct.
4 times.
But even marketing, like strategies for marketing right now are completely different than they were
Sure.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Every aspect of real estate is just a moving target every time. And
Yeah.
the more you build your team, the more you have to understand you have to be plugged into a relevant center that has agents that are active and that are producing in this market. Because if you have a no close correlation, someone that you can talk to and bounce ideas of, or saying, hey, I'm going to go into this market and I've marketed everything that has to do with it. Because I've experienced it myself. I've talked to agents that put a listing in an area where there's literally in a 1 mile radius, there's no listings. And I'm like, dude, did you look at market research? What's going on in that area? Is there any upcoming, I don't know, rezoning? Any construction going to be happening from the city? What studies did you do? Or did you just go off your cuff? Did you just go on the market and say, hey, there's no properties here. I'm going to door knock this area and say, you have no competition. List it now and we'll get maximum price.
I love that thought process. It's like, no, so no one here, so I can ask whatever I want.
Yeah, it's insane, right?
A lot of sellers do that, right?
But
Yeah.
it goes back to, we're just talking about brand new agents.
Yeah.
There's a lot of agents that are in the market right now that are experienced, that have closed deals, but they have that brand new agent mentality.
Sure.
Well, desperation, not enough inventory.
Oh man, it's crazy to me. You know, so
Yeah.
that's why, I mean, I'm pretty sure all of us here, we get tossed deals left and right. And we turn down more deals than we actually take on for that simple opportunity, right? In real estate, one thing that I nobody talked about it when I got into the real estate industry is time management, right? Time blocking. Like, what do I do with my time?
That's number 3 or number 4.
How do I-
been ish? Yeah.
Yeah. How do I actually? I don't have freedom, right? Because a lot of agents get into this industry because I have a freedom to make my schedule however I want, right? And it's like, it's funny for me because like I own other businesses. All of us here own other businesses, right? To me, real estate literally turns on from 2 to 7. It's like go time for me. All my clients are either off of work, they want to go see properties, they want to have conversations about, you know, what's available in the market. Hey, what about this house? Hey, what about that house? And if I don't time manage my time precisely, it's super easy to be busy and don't close shit and sound like, oh man, I'm getting burned out in real estate because I'm doing so much and I'm seeing so little return. And agents don't know how to structure their day that way. I think that's the biggest misconception.
Making that distinction between, especially for newer agents, on this is a income producing activity, and this is something I'm just saying the words real estate over and over again. not collecting a paycheck.
Oh man, busy, real estate, busy.
But it's true. It's that distinction, right? And again, it goes back to
being intentional.
Who are you partnering up with, right? Because I think like the number one thing that nobody talks about becoming a brand new real estate agent is who mentors me. Like, what am I going to get myself into? Because there's a false reality about real estate due to HGTV. $1 million listing, all these things. Like, dude, how many times have we not seen it on the show where it's like flip or flop? Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah.
Same scenario. This Saturday, we walked the property with a very active guy. He's out there. He's go, do this. Flipping a property, had no knowledge of it, is profitable, but he doesn't even understand his exposures. Mm-hmm. Like, dude, what are you doing? How are you preparing yourself? Tax exposures, lawsuit exposures, and that's just flipping. We'll do another podcast about that. But in reality, with this, brand new agents, I think a lot of them don't understand the complexities of all the hats that you have to wear when you become a brand new realtor.
Yeah.
Because it's not just, I have a license, I have an Instagram, I have access to the MLS and there's properties for sale.
Yeah.
Why is no one calling me?
Yeah.
Why am I not in
Well, we got to
contract?
simplify it because I mean, if we're for newer agents, I want to kind of take it back. I don't know how much time we have left, but
What you want.
there's only a few things that I want them focusing on, right?
Oh, yeah.
The number of
do your four
contacts.
things. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, we've already said it. The 20 contacts a day,
Minimum.
and that's it. I mean, I don't even want to overcomplicate it. How are they doing that? I mean, we can get deeper into the moat and how we can kind of create that environment or that ecosphere of family and friends and whoever we're talking to, that these people are going to definitely reach back out to me when they got to sell something, and I'd love for you to, I mean, you're the expert on open houses. I'd love for you to go maybe a little deeper on
Oh
that.
yeah, open houses. Yeah. So
Expert on
my top would be actually, so again, the idea of building a moat around your people is that, so let's pretend let's just say we have this moat, right? You got a castle in the middle and you got a moat and there's a drawbridge and it goes up and down. So when you do open house, 3 or 4 more people go in the castle and you pull the drawbridge up, trying to keep them inside this thing you're building. And so that is
So how are you doing that? Is that emails or phone calls, text messages,
yes.
consistent marketing of mail?
So here, it's okay. I'll make it super simple. So
Yeah.
it depends. If we're speaking directly, let's just talk about open house for a minute. When you open open house, your real objective is to connect with as many people as possible within the period of time you have. It's not specifically to get everyone's name and number. And the reason it's not is because when you're doing an open house, connection is not the same as signing in. And so when you're connecting, you're talking, somebody comes in with their 2 kids, you have 2 kids, you're like, oh, you start talking about all the stuff relative to kids and family and why are you guys thinking about being here? And did you see that one down the street? Oh yeah, that was a crapshoot. Like like you're getting into this life
Building
with
a
them.
relationship.
Right. And so if I'm doing that for 15, 20 minutes with this person who I'm connecting with a lot and who is obviously wanting to do something, I'm going to lose 2 and 3 and 4 people at the front door. There's no choice. I have to sacrifice those for this person. Now, if you don't have that kind of connection, then cycle through until you find that kind of connection. But all the business that you're going to have that's important is going to be in those connections. If you can get people to sign in along the way, you might secure some of those people too. But the point is, this conversation, we're getting closer to rapport and closer to friends.
Quality over quantity.
Yes, but also if you can, quality and quantity depending on what you do with those other people. So, but the point is, let's say you get 15 people in the door over a 2 or 3 hour period of time. 3 of them, 3, 4, 5, maybe you're going to have connection with, unless the property's priced super low and it's like everyone wants to make an offer with you. But even those are not really viable relationships. They just want you for that piece and they're on to the next, right? So, but what you want to do is you connect with them. At the end, you say something like, hey, I've got a lot of stuff coming on the market. I'm not saying this is a direct script, but if you'd like me to find you something else, let's reconnect, give her information and I'll see what I can find. And you start a cultivation of sending, properties when they're appropriate, saying, hey, listen, I saw this one. I don't know about that backyard. We never talked about it, but hey, just want to make sure I wasn't judging.
So not just setting up an MLS auto search.
Sorry, never, ever. I would say 90% of the time, don't ever send an MLS auto search. The reason why is that Realtor, Zillow, Trulia, everyone's an MLS auto search, and what they're getting the same prompts. So they just met you at the open house. They got those weeks before that when they started thinking about this stuff. And so if you send them out through the same system they send them out, and they're all coming at the same time, there's zero curation, nothing specific and special. You never got to know what they're looking for. And so if you're talking to someone and you're connecting with Sally and Bob and their 2 kids, Ginny and Jenny, like you're doing all this stuff, they say, oh yeah, Brian, man, we'd love to have that. God, you know the best? If we had a giant oak tree in the front yard, that would be home to us. And you realize the MLS has no filter for a giant oak tree in the front yard. And you never called a landscaping company and say, well, dude, what do adult oak trees go for? And then you have all this stuff. You're like, hey guys, this one actually will work, and talk to my guy over at such and such nursery. I can get you an oak
service.
That goes back to service.
But my point is that don't send that stuff. You have to curate it and say, hey, listen, I found this one, and text it. Say, I don't know if this is right or not. I just want to make sure I get you in the loop. I'm always on top of it, yada, yada. And so, but by doing that, they come into the circle. And so when they're inside this castle with this moat, the idea is to create more people who will live in there with you. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I have mixed emotions about the auto search.
I don't like it. I like it to me. I don't like it.
It's
unless it's very specific. Unless the property has no uniqueness.
So the reason I say that is, it shows at least to me, it shows how actual active some of the buyers are, right? So if you set up an auto search, you get to actually monitor how many times they log into your auto search.
Mm.
You get to see how many houses they heart.
I'm just
and everything
concerned
else.
about all the people who are also sending.
Well, here's a caveat to that, and I've had this experience, and it's helped me a lot. But I also have clients like you. There's a big distinguish, and it comes back to service, right? There's clients that are hyper focused on what they want. They know exactly what they're going to need. They know the zip code that they want. They know the school district that they want.
I like
And there's agents that are just, hey, I'm qualified. I want to buy a house in Orange County. It's like, holy shit! Like, how do you
Anywhere from 100,000 to 400 million. I have
because
no clue.
there's a big difference, right? Like, and it goes back to our time blocking.
Yeah.
How much time are you going to spend searching for all those properties in that area that have an oak tree in the front yard, and instead of they're buyers right now, and this is the biggest distinguish that I think the big disconnect of agents is that yes, we have a license, that doesn't give you the right to sell real estate right now. Like, anybody could buy real estate without a license. Realtors, we had a big advantage on buyers or advantage on the real estate community, like the buyers in that area, or even sellers, because they didn't have access to the real estate market. They didn't have Zillow, they didn't have Redfin, they didn't have all those things. Right now, it's just about being top of mind and actually being able to answer the phone calls and being able to communicate with customers.
It's the top of service.
Top of service,
Yeah.
primarily. But agents or clients, like, I've had experiences where clients tell me, hey, Red, I want 92710 and I want this property, this. And then a week later, they call me and they goes, hey, I saw this
one
house
in San Diego.
Yes. And it's like, are you
I love it.
Are you kidding me?
I don't know why. Why didn't you send this to us?
So it goes back. Yeah. It goes back to, why did you send this to us? I think there's a big disconnect right there, right? If there's going to be clients, and it goes back to service and understanding what they're going to want. Because I was listening to everything that you're saying about the open house. There's a big disconnect even with open houses right now. Because agents that were doing open houses 2 years ago, I mean, I had an open house where I had almost 90 people in one day come in.
That's insane.
And then I just sold one right now in La Palma, where the first day I had 3 people, and the second day, Diego had 7 people. And we ended up with 6 offers.
Wow.
And it was like, holy shit. Like,
see, but that's actually kind of awesome.
yeah, I know. And that's what I'm saying. It's
motivated people.
Well, but it's also like you got 90 people, you can talk to 5. Well, if you talk to 7, you're getting 6 offers. That's better.
So that's what I'm
goes
saying.
back to open houses, and
Yeah.
awesome. I was going to ask one more thing in open houses. I'm curious your thoughts on setting up open houses on outside of kind of normal days, so not weekends and not the broker preview days. I did this very early on in my career.
Tuesdays, 12 to 4.
Yeah, some
12 to
random
1.
hours.
Honestly, in this market, it might work.
If you set it up correctly, I think if you put all the signs in and
I mean, the
really
thing is
market it
that
correctly,
open houses,
especially if you're getting 10 people look at it and 7
Yeah.
offers.
open houses for me are a strategic thing. A lot of people use it as like, hey, this is how you sell a house, but it's strategic for the opening day and then a couple of days. But it might work to do it in off hours. I've seen it incredibly hit and miss historically, but the numbers are so much different now. Like, it's absolutely worth a shot. But the other thing that I think might also be worth a shot is potentially trying to secure the business that's, kind of that shadow inventory. Like, these are people who are just, in about 6 months, there's going to be more activity in the marketplace, and, doing a bit more of a mega open house thing and get more of the community involved to start gaining traction on the ability to farm. I think that's an investment that might be worth it, because farming is going to start fading away too for many areas.
Mhm.
And then there's going to be opportunity there too. But back to the open house,
That's a deeper.
it is right. Sorry, I
Farming.
didn't put it in. But the point is, like, if you're coupling these things together,
Yeah.
the open house thing, I think you could. I think you need to be strategic in the location and the time. So, like, I'll give you an example. If you're picking an area that is like
5% turnover.
Yeah, 5%. Well, yeah, that. But no, I'm saying, like, think about traffic. Like, if it's like where we are at, it's southbound traffic in the morning and outbound traffic in the evening. So if you are doing something where people are majority going out, like, I don't know where, but like, depending on what the traffic is, you may not want to do Anaheim Hills by us because there's 3 freeways of traffic leaving town.
Yeah.
You might just be holding open houses for no reason. So depending on where you're at, I mean, yeah.
Strategic.
But again, it
It's
goes back.
probably a long-winded answer to you, but you
It goes
could
back to
benefit,
service.
but it's got to be. I would say, here's my short answer: it has to be an area in which it is already communitized, where people rarely leave and come and go. It's just kind of like everybody's in that area. That for me would be a lot of Irvine. In Orange County, California, Irvine, Santa Ana, Anaheim, where like all of that is you can get all of it in side streets. It's all
Yeah.
communitized for where it's at. Costa Mesa, Newport, areas where people don't really leave that area to work in that area.
Let's say if you're a new agent and you have nothing to do all day, is it a good idea?
Oh yeah, but the best idea you could do on an all-day basis is to find a neighborhood you like, create a market report of everything that's sold, and go and hand it out all day long.
Mm-hmm.
Because you want people just to get to know that you have information about real estate.
That goes back to the shameless plug, dude. What brokerage are you partnering up with? That's a brand new agent. Because it's real estate can be very, very tiresome and very busy.
Can be.
It is. Well, no, it's. I say it can be because once you get to a point, like right now,
the
we're all
gas
busy.
does let off.
No,
Yeah.
no, it does because when you're hyper focused on doing those money making activities,
Yeah.
you said it numerous times on the morning calls that we have here. You know, agents that could get shit done in 1 hour. That other agents are doing it in 6 hours,
Yeah.
and they just feel like, holy crap, I'm overwhelmed, right? and I think just there's so many moving parts in real estate. Like even going back to the simplicity of open house. Just because you have an open house and you put up signs in the corner and people show up, if you don't have shit to say, you don't have
doesn't
market
mean you did
knowledge.
your job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you really don't understand like
Service, being
service, like
and being
I
intentional.
specifically like I study the crap out of my market. When I'm gonna do an open house and people come in and they're like, oh dude, like it's a little bit overpriced. Great. Then go to this house down the street. They're gonna have an open house next weekend. I know it's on there and it's priced $40,000 below us, but obviously it's 300 square feet smaller. So, but that's my spiel, right?
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed of telling people go somewhere else and buy it. Like this house is not for you. It's not for you. It's gonna sell, right? But
Get the hell out of my open
yeah,
house.
it's if you're gonna sit here and you're gonna complain about minute things that I know how to overcome because I have market knowledge and experience, then it's easy for me to have those conversations with those buyers.
Yep.
And I've had the experience where buyers appreciate that. They're like, holy shit, like, all right, cool, you knew about this house because I was going to compare this one to that one, but I didn't know it was 350 square feet difference. I was like, oh yeah, there's a massive difference on that.
Yeah.
If you're only priced for that property, you're only pricing your budget is this, go buy that one. And if you need help, I'll be more than happy to help you purchase and submit an offer on that, and obviously be able to counter that agent, so on and so forth, right? But it goes back to that part where brand new agents have a huge misconception of how daunting and overwhelming it could be to be a realtor, right? It's not just having a license, showing people, putting people in your car, showing people like there's way more complexity to that. So shameless plug again, partnering up with the right brokerage is going to make a huge difference on expediting that success process.
Because it's going to make a huge difference right now. This market, I mean, obviously inventory is very low. We're going to lose a lot of agents. We're going to lose a lot of agents, I think, in the next year or two.
You can collectively as an industry?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Your words to God's ears, brother. I hope. You know,
I mean,
it's
for guys like us, I think it's
Great.
obviously we're gonna get more listings. We're gonna connect.
Sure.
You know,
we're gonna
I
connect
think
with
we've
more
already
people.
lost. I think we've already lost a lot of those people. Actually, I mean, they're not gone, but they're like, I'll go do something else for a while.
I mean, depends how much longer they keep the interest rates up here and where
Dude, there's so
where
many.
things end up on the
There's a lot of people that I know that are like, hey, I need to get a part-time job just to make ends meet.
Oh yeah.
Right.
You know, or hey, I need to do this, I need to do that, or hey, how else are you making money, Red? Like, what other things? I was like, real estate. Like, I have no other answer
I've
for
had
you.
a few people reach out.
You know, it's like, and it's just funny to me because again, this doesn't go back just to brand new agents. They go back to agents in general.
Yeah.
A lot of agents really don't know how to hyper focus their time blocking, hyper focus their money making activities.
Well, and a lot of that has to do with they just don't have the experience to know what worked before, which is again kind of go all the way back to the beginning. Is that you have to trust some of the guidance you're getting and say, hey, just don't do that, do this, just only this, stop doing everything else and do this thing because. I mean, we've done it, but more specifically, is
collectively we've done.
we've all,
Sheesh,
and
you've done
but I've made all the mistakes too, and I've done all this stuff.
what?
That's
I've made
experience.
I've made a few of the mistakes. Yes, I know.
We're not perfect. Like
Yeah,
we're sitting
no.
here, none of us are perfect.
I'm perfect.
You know, my very first mentor in the business had a good saying. He said, "He who knows the tops knows the bottom." And so I was like, "Yeah,
Yeesh.
he who knows the top knows the bottom. Who knows the penthouse knows the mailroom."
Yeah.
Is that better? Okay, there you go. But the point is that like, don't try and debate whether something will or won't work based upon lack of experience. Like these things are like these are the steps and the building blocks necessary to have a career in real estate. And if you want, this is a little bit tight of a market. It's going to start changing this way and then that way and then this way. And the thing is that if you get in front of some of these habits and start putting some of these things together now and just rinse repeat them over and over again, the numbers will start growing. And that, I guess, that was my easiest way of saying all that.
I think the last thing I would say for brand new agents, piggyback on a little bit what you're saying right now, is be flexible and available to learn when the person that's going to be willing to teach you is available.
Yeah, definitely get out of entitlement of I should have this.
Well,
Yeah.
and I say this because I've had so many instances where brand new agents walk into my office and they're like, "Hey, I want to learn this. I see that you're going to do an open house.
Yeah.
Or I see you're doing your flip. Can I go learn from you? Cool. I'm going to be there Monday from 8 to 2. Or I'm going to be there Monday from 8 to 10. Oh, well, can you show up like at 4? And I'm just sitting there going like, and I say this lovingly without trying to insult anybody.
I'll insult people.
Yeah. Well, the problem is
No.
I mean, we don't want to sound like dicks for lack of a better term, but the reality is if you want to learn, you have to invest the time when it's available for them to teach you.
Yep.
Right? As a brand new agent, I think a lot of people have that huge obstacle of like, hey, I'm not available for that, but you're the one with the knowledge. So can you become available when I am available?
Yeah.
I'll
That
take it a
doesn't work
step
that way.
further. I mean, I've had people like, can I buy you a cup of coffee and pick your brain and sit down with you for an hour? And I'm like, the $3 coffee is gonna you're wasting an hour of my time.
It's very.
You're saying I make $3 an hour? Is that what you're saying?
But it's hard for some people that are on the opposite side because I was there before, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys were there before, but when I wanted to learn about flips,
Yeah.
I would ask people, hey, when are you going to be at the flip? Oh shit, dude, I'm not available at that time. Is there like my thought process was like, when are you also going to be available? Or hey, if you're not available in the afternoon, do you need me to go over there and check on it and talk to the contractors and learn?
If I want to help you on, or if I want to learn about flipping, I would, if I was that person that new agent that wanted to get into flipping or investor and want to learn about flipping from an expert, I would become a resource for you.
Yeah.
I would say, how can I help
for you for free?
I
for
do
months.
Maybe I do marketing or I'm good at Instagram posts or something like that. I would be like, hey, your next flip, can I put it on Instagram? Can I create some reels for it? Can I do some extra marketing for it? In exchange, let me just shadow you for the next time.
And I think a lot of people, and this is not just like for brand new agents, this is like across even Instagram and everybody else. People that are highly successful, it's not that we're busy, it's just that we're very hyper focused on our time blocking. So it's not that we say no to you just because you come up to us and try to offer us something. It's just that you got to understand if the availability is there. On our downtimes, I want to be with my family. I want to be with my kids. I want to spend my downtime, not to sound like an asshole, but not teaching someone else when I want to teach my kids how to grow their future.
Yeah.
I want to teach my kids how to invest their money in the future. I want to be with my wife. I want to be with my kids. I want to see them grow up.
See, I'll tell you my thing is though, so mine's fine. I teach everybody, my door's open. People come in every 15 minutes about something, and that's fine.
Mhm.
My issue is when people come back 3 days later with the same question. It's not a big deal, but it's like you are asking questions to learn something. I'm okay teaching
Make
it.
the effort.
We'll make the effort to like retain and work on it. And so, but there's some people who come in, they ask me a question, I won't see them back for 2 days. Like, dude, it fucking worked. That's great. and I appreciate that. So
But
I think
it goes back to the education part, like
Yeah.
you said. There's some people that are professional class takers,
Mhm.
and then there's people that are going to take a class and implement.
Yeah.
That's the mindset that you have to have. As being a brand new agent is when you learn something, stop trying to go learn the next thing. If it's not going to benefit you in your business, invest that time in learning and implementing what you learned the first time around,
Yep.
and be very hyper focused on the classes you're going to pick.
That's. I mean, if I can
Yeah,
summarize,
what are your
one
thoughts?
main thing is find your niche. That's
Man.
what, and that's kind of how I found commercial real estate. I mean, I was floundering around doing residential. I thought I'd join a team to do luxury residential and all this kind of stuff. And it was really from a conversation that I had with an investor at kind of a restaurant, just sitting next to somebody, and they were in the need of buying commercial real estate at the time. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. Meanwhile, I hadn't sold any commercial real estate, but so really learning, finding out what they wanted. I did partner with a few different people. If it was a retail asset, I partnered with a retail broker. If it was industrial broker, I partnered with an industrial broker to learn that whole entire process. The main thing that I took away from that is I found a niche that I enjoyed, that I liked, that I could kind of expand my knowledge in, and I really ran with it.
Oh yeah.
So mine was similar. So actually, it was actually lunch with a client of mine, and so he so his client actually passed away about 4 years ago, but before that, he owned a giant construction company with some partners, and 50% of their client base was theme parks. And so they built a bunch of stuff. He had built downtown Disneyland's. He built Star Wars World and
Holy crap.
I mean, a bunch of stuff, Harry Potter World and all that stuff. That's what their company did, but it's half their business was that. And so, but I waited until he had a really long and problematic sale of his house, and so we finally sold it. And then I was like, okay, let's go get some lunch. I really want to figure out how you built something very cool. I want to build something very cool, and it was unique. And he said something that I again use is that you have to figure out what you can do so incredibly and uniquely different that it becomes its own market.
Yeah.
And so for me, I looked at everything that we did very well, and I took the top stats of the business was that. So we did very good with design and staging, and we do it ourselves because we wanted to improve. We did it as service. We actually wanted to improve the client's house, and then that was just mine. We weren't doing it as a grand like this is our business. It was just like I really want to sell these homes for as high as possible, and so we would do it, and we would load up a credit card and buy all the furniture and stick it in, and then sell the house and pay everything off, and we had some stuff finally. But we suddenly decided, like, you know what, this is going to be our business model. We're going to stage every property that needs it at our expense because we know this will push the value even further. Mm-hmm. And so that became our thing, is that we would lean heavy on service. And and at the same time, everyone was negotiating over fees. So, you're trying to sell things for 1% and 2%. It's like it's weird because everyone's in the luxury market of the companies who are working. And it's like, well, if we're in luxury market so much, how come we're reducing their compensation? Like, it doesn't seem like you're really valuing what you're selling. And so
1% doesn't get the deal done. What are you talking about?
Dude, it's insane. So, but everyone's doing that. Big agents doing something for like nothing and nothing and nothing. It's like, so I figured, I was like, you know what? I'm going to lean so heavy on service that like there's no question where anything is going. And so we leaned heavy on that. And so do stuff in other worlds, but our gift is like design. Like we can walk a whole property all the way through and take this thing that looks like nothing and take it here. And it's like, without having to flip a property, we can actually make a property that much more valuable. That
people
just
pay a lot of money for that. Yeah,
we don't negotiate on compensation really at all, ever, because the value is all put in there because it's something that people don't create.
Yeah.
So that was ours too.
You're saving them money.
No, it's the niche. I mean, that's the thing that got me. I mean, it was ironic to see the same, just proximity of who you actually know, conversation you're having, how they can vouch for you and everything else because all the work you've put in. I got introduced to my first investor, and I just love that market. Like just investors, just working with investors, learning numbers, and being able to go back to those same investors and say, hey, you guys like making money, here's an opportunity. Because, I mean, it goes back to, we could have a whole other podcast about this, but most of my flips, I don't put any of my cash into them. It's just because of the service that we can actually provide. OPM, but it goes back to that, like brand new agents. You got to understand, real estate is a very vast business. I mean, there's so many avenues of making money.
Yeah.
Referrals, assignments, multifamily, commercial, residential, ground up construction. And the list goes on and on and on and on. I mean, one of my biggest clients came from a lease. Mm-hmm. Like it was just this normal lease. And the first brokerage I ever joined was get away from leases. You don't do leases. It doesn't matter how many years you've been in the industry. You never do it. Refer it out to that's peons. Leave it to the peasants.
See, that's my service too. It's like I take care of your stuff.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It goes back to service, knowledge, right?
Yeah.
A lot of agents think, going back to like my comment about the 1% thing, when you have no value in who you are and what you can provide as an agent, your first thing you cut is your money.
You have no value.
You have no value.
Yeah.
You're going to cut your commission because all you care about is making ends meet. You care about closing this next deal because you don't know where your money's going to come from the next transaction.
Yeah,
right?
you have to.
You don't have a pipeline.
I got one. He'll take me. I'll just whatever he'll pay me.
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. And until I got coaching, I didn't know that my money was the last money should have been touched.
Sure.
And it was easy for me because I didn't know my value. I didn't partner up with big agents, big producers. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was just I should be okay with just we're making a lot of money. But a lot of agents don't understand, dude. It takes time to put a property up on the market. it's not as quick as you see on HGTV where someone signs a contract
it's
and the
done
next day is,
properly.
dude, it takes time.
Yeah.
And if you start dividing your time, you start cutting your commission down, go get yourself a part-time job. You'll probably make more money, you know? And if you're not in it for the big industry where you're actually servicing clients, because the minute you start shifting your mind about, I don't want to get myself rich off of commissions, I want to make my clients rich.
Right.
Because that's
Yeah.
the biggest objective of me
Right.
is to put more money in their pocket. And I always tell that to all my clients. My commission is not based off making money off of you. It's what my services can do to implement your bottom line
To
on the property
improve
value.
your dollar. Yes.
To improve your dollar. And simultaneously, you're going to make money.
Yeah.
Simultaneously. But there's a lot of
More money if
agents.
you
Oh,
focus on
yeah.
the service. Yeah.
There's a lot of agents that just focus in on making that quick buck up front. Like, I got a listing, I got a commission. Oh, shit. This didn't happen. Like, I didn't know we were supposed to disclose this. So the buyers are negotiating now. You go to your seller, and your seller's like, oh, man, what the hell, dude? You didn't do your service. You didn't do your job. Like, I'm not going to pay that. So now you're in a pickle. The transaction's not going to close. You're not going to make any money. You're not going to want to put it up on the market because now it looks like a blemish on that listing.
Yeah.
So what do? Toss in your cash. Why? Because, again, you don't have service. You don't know how to overcome those objections. So it goes back to your niche. Like, what is your niche? As a brand new agent, I would encourage this 1,000,000% over and over again. Interview agents that you want to partner up with that are doing the things that you want to do. And if they have the availability, go find a transaction, provide it to them and say, hey, can we partner on this? I don't care if I go 60-40.
Yeah.
I remember when I first got started in the industry, I was going down to 80-20. I would make 20%.
Mm.
The other agent would make 80%.
Depends.
But guess what? Where I'm at now, that's pennies.
Yeah.
Like, that was the best investment of my life because
Experience.
it could have been so much more hiring the wrong person, getting the wrong coaching, getting the wrong implementation in the wrong direction of my business. So that's
Sometimes
one
the
thing that
bad
we analyze.
decisions are actually money savers.
Oh, dude, it's huge
Yeah.
because that's the one thing that we focus on here, right? You always talk about it, brand new agents on the phone call in the morning. Bring me your book of business. Let us analyze it. Let us tell you what direction to go to.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you good at? Talk to us about what makes you who you are. Because that's another big thing about real estate. Your image, your persona, how you can connect with people is huge. Because it's not just about having a business license and walking around with a freaking sign over your head that says, I sell real estate.
Yes.
It might get you one or two deals. But if you don't know what
It's
to
not
do
gonna
with
get your
it,
career.
it's not going to get your career. And that's the difference, right? Every agent, what's the statistics right now in Orange County? 1 out of every 7 people, 8 people have a real estate license.
It's got to be more than that. I swear, everyone I know has one. Yeah.
It feels that way. But I mean, the last conversation I had with the client is, look, if you throw a rock far enough, you're going to probably hit 2 agents.
I'm pretty
right?
sure that's what I said.
California.
You said that
I
too?
say it all the time.
Oh, no way.
I'm like, dude,
But-
I make a joke. Okay, so I'll say I make a joke of it. When someone says, like, even an open house, oh, I know so and so is a real estate agent. I tell agents that when I train them, I said, make a joke of it. This is what I say. I say, oh, I'd be surprised if you didn't. It's Orange County. You throw a brick in the street, you're gonna hit 2 agents, and everybody laughs, so you can get it out of the way. Like, yeah,
Dude, I tell people something similar. I say, hey, well, look, if you look closely in your driver's license, probably on the backside you have a real estate license number 2. They're giving them away to everybody.
yeah, just give it
No,
away.
they're just giving them away. But I go back to that same similarity. Like, just because you have a driver's license doesn't mean you're a good driver.
Right.
Sure,
Just because you have a real estate license doesn't mean that you're a good realtor.
sure.
And it's some realtors, it takes a couple years to get there. Why? Because they want to build everything themselves, even though they're trashing their reputation, burning bridges, leaving so much money on the table. Last experience that we had with a seller, he was going to hire the wrong people. Their listing price was going to be $50,000 below what we were going to even come in at.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, holy shit, that was going to cost you $50,000 on top of that, minus the commissions that they were going to pay.
But,
But
hey,
not to go on a rant. I mean,
I don't make Thanksgiving awkward with my cousin.
but not to go on a
That'll
rant.
be a very awkward Thanksgiving if your cousin loses you $50,000.
Well, it's the biggest thing about it is find your niche, find your passion. If you're going into real estate for chasing the money, then I personally think you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Sure.
That's just my own personal opinion. Because yes, you can make good income in real estate, but it costs a shit ton of money to get there. It costs a shit ton of time. It costs a lot of investment.
Costs a lot of life if it's not the life you want to build.
Oh yeah, it costs a lot of life. But if you're not a service-based agent where you have a mindset of, hey, I can build wealth through this industry, and my biggest objection is to obviously help others do the same.
Mhm.
By courtesy, you're going to make a wealth. You're going to make that
Yeah.
money yourself, right? But it goes back to, who do you partner up with? Who are you actually surrounding yourself with? What group are you actually masterminding with? Who are you having classes from? Who are you learning from? And yeah, I mean, I'm
I think
100%.
that sums it up really
Yeah.
well.
So, final thoughts, couple things from each of you. Tom, what do you think? Last thoughts for brand new agents.
No, I think Red summarized it really well. I mean, if you want to get super basic, I think the 20 contacts a day is minimum.
Yep.
And you have to have those real estate conversations. If you're an agent, and just think to yourself, if I'm an agent sitting in a big office and all I'm doing is kind of wandering around, I go to a class and then I wander into somebody's office and ask about what my business card looks like and how important it is.
Should I cross my hands on the picture?
Dude, it's so funny. Gold jacket, no gold jacket.
You're not going to survive. I don't want to be mean or kind of rude to these people, but you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
You have 20 real estate conversations a day.
Jeez.
Has to be done. I mean,
That's
it
a
sounds
minimum.
like a lot, but if you're doing open houses and I think phone calls, I think it's a very doable process.
Yeah.
So for
time
me,
block your day, however that is,
Yeah.
the open house at the afternoon, phone call in the beginning of the day, and hit those 20 contacts.
I think for me that my biggest thing, my last thoughts would be acceptance of what the first year or two will look like. And I think that very few agents understand that it is a menagerie of results, and you may get nothing for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months because you're trying to figure stuff out that you've never had.
But to put a light at the end of the tunnel here, there was a $300 million producer I talked to probably a year or two in the business, and I just randomly caught him, out on the field, and he told me, if you can survive in this business, I think the number was 7 years. 7 years in this business, what you're doing the daily activities, you will be at a place that's well above.
Well, that's not what I was saying. But my point is that people have an expectation that the first 3 months should look like this, and they rarely do. And so that, by the way, I'm saying this, but we've had people come to our company within 3 months. They have all kinds of business. That's not the point.
Right.
The point is that you have to be willing to work hard and figure out what results look like as you're doing it. Not, here's the results I want to have, and so I'll work this hard. This is what I'm going to do.
Well, work hard and work smart.
Work smart, but I'm saying
working hard on your business card is not.
That's not work. I'm sorry. Work hard at the activities that are actually revenue producing.
Yes.
You could work for the next 3 years without a business card and make tons of money. So yes, okay. Work hard, but have expectations that are for doing better in growth and service. When I heard a great saying, when you're nervous, focus on service. So just don't worry about stuff. Focus on the service part and plug into the community in which you are in would be my best final thoughts.
My final thoughts is pretty much analyzing what your first year of business is going to be like and set those expectations up correctly. I mean, I think the biggest shocker to a lot of people that are not in the real estate industry because of HGTV, social media, and everything else is that average agent per year closes anywhere between 2 to 4 transactions, right? And some people beat themselves up on their first year because they only closed 3. And there's agents that are in this industry 10 years.
That's not bad. I mean, if we're talking average price point of 800 or
Correct.
$1 million or whatever it is, I mean, we're
But
talking about $25,000.
It's going back and really understanding, number one, breaking down your business, getting that right expectation going your first year. And number 2, you're going to work more than 40 hours a week. Period.
Yeah, probably.
It's a non-negotiable. If you're going to get into the industry, I think the biggest thing that I wish somebody would have told me in the beginning was set aside at least anywhere between 3 to 5 months of your cost of living to get in here and be successful, uber successful at focusing in on the groundworks of what your business is going to be and not focusing in on trying to rush someone with commission breath, try to make money off of someone else to pay your bills.
Or I will say this, I bartended at night for years while I was doing it. So I would bartend till 2, 3, 4 in the morning, and then I'd be at work the next day, 8 a.m. doing real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that.
You could talk real estate to people you hadn't talked to.
At bars, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly how I want to pursue myself.
Here's your
jacket,
business card.
And those the napkins made from a nice business card material. Yeah.
You on the business card going.
Yeah. I wear it. I like the gold jacket for this one. Yeah, no. But you can also just keep your expenses low and work as hard as you can. But put the time in. I was killing myself in the real estate until I got to this place where I was like, dude, this makes no sense anymore. And then you just transition.
Yeah. But again, it comes down to no one told me that. No one ever told me, hey, you're not going to make a paycheck in the first 3 months. Chances are it's going to be a little bit harder for you to knock on the first door, get a listing, get it sold in less than 30 days.
Sure.
Like that's the one thing that I think people don't understand. In the real estate industry, you don't get paychecks every week. You don't get paychecks every month. Some paychecks, like you can have, like you always talked about this numerous times. And I've learned so much about you in retrospect, even in my years in the industry right here, where you have those ebbs and goes, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like you have 6 transactions closing 1 month, and then for the next 5 months, you've been so busy with those 6, you don't got shit.
Yeah.
Right. So managing your
Should've been
money,
time blocking.
yeah, managing your money is going to be huge in real estate.
Oh yeah.
Right.
That's
So to me, it's more coming with the mindset of when I said you're going to work more than 40 hours in real estate is because chances are you're going to probably have a part-time job in the beginning, unless you're young
a
enough.
sugar mama.
Yeah, that would be amazing. But even then, like even with that, sugar mamas are only going to support you for so long, right? Realistically. So to me, it's just more time blocking, money management, and the right expectations. Like those are the 3 top things that I would say before you even get yourself into the journey of getting your license. Understand that you're not getting into a business to have flexibility, freedom, going to lunches every day and getting drunk, rubbing shoulders with other multimillionaires. Just because you have a real estate license doesn't mean that you're going to break into the multi-million-dollar industry right away.
Yeah.
Which again, it sucks because now multi-million-dollar industry is not that hard to break into.
Yeah, it's nothing. No
Average price is $1 million in Orange County.
And someone else, you're a
Yeah.
multi-million-dollar luxury agent.
You're a luxury agent.
That would be my top 3 things. Before you even consider getting into the real estate industry, I would say mirror and match someone. Like kind of look at their schedules, look at where they're at, look at what got them there. Because if I was getting started in this industry and I would go mirror and match you right now, Tom, it would be encouraging to see what you're doing right now because it's like, oh shit, I could do that, right?
Yeah.
But what I never heard a brand new agent ever ask me is like, what were you doing your first year? What were you doing your first
That's
4
a
years
good
in the
point
industry?
too. I mean, a new agent mirroring me right now. I mean, I don't think that it's very different than
He'd look very
obviously.
lazy.
Yeah,
Oh
I look very
yeah,
lazy.
yeah, because
Well, I'm making less phone calls out. I'm just answering phone
yeah,
calls.
but that's again, it took how many years to get there,
Right.
Sure.
And that's a lot of things that when you're gonna get into an industry, ask the right questions. Like, don't get in there and knock on my door and be like, "Hey, how did you get 10 deals this year?" When everybody's saying you don't have any deals, it's so hard to get transactions. It's so hard. Like, how are you opening up escrows? How are you doing a flip? Why are you doing? Like, you got to understand. It took me 18 damn years to get to where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that would be my biggest thing. Like
Yeah.
my takeaway for agents that are going to get started, brand new agents, those would be my big 3 things. Before
right.
you get your license, understand the numbers, understand your cash flow, and understand your time management.
And what you're doing with that time. Making
Oh, yeah.
sure it's actually income producing activities.
Severely
Hitting those
income-producing.
contacts.
Yep. Cool.
Want to wrap
Cool.
this up?
If you're ready.
I'm ready.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, so that has been all information from us right here on Agents After Hours. If you like this, please follow, subscribe for more information in real estate. We're going to continually coming to you with more data that we possess on how to be better in all things real estate. As always, Brian, Tom, and Red, we will see you here next time on Agents After Hours.